Good morning. The Pardon Board is called to order. Today is Monday, June 3rd, 2024. Time is 9:01 a.m. I'd like to ask staff, please call the roll.
Mr. Hodges,
Present.
Steve Rudy,
Present.
Prater,
Here.
Tilly,
Here.
Nathan.
Here.
Madam Chair, we have, foreman.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Our first order of business this morning is review and approval of the minutes of our Monday, December 11th, 2023 meeting. Those board members were made available to you in your, the video proceedings were made available to you. If there are no corrections, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes from December 11th. I second that.
We have a motion by Mr. Freeman, a second by Mr. Tillis. Is there any objection to the motion? Hearing none, those minutes are approved. Thank you. Moving into our regular business, and that is consideration of applications for clemency. We have our first case this morning, and that is Mr. King. Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. King, would you introduce yourself to the board, please? Tell us your name and your current mailing address, sir.
My name is John King. My address is 498 Marion Sims Road, West Monroe, Louisiana, 78200.
Thank you, sir. And I want to welcome Mr. Jacob Smith, and we'll call on you at the appropriate time for your remarks. First, I'll just read some identifying information into the record, Mr. King, and then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Freeman, seated to my right. Your case has been assigned to him, and he'll take the lead on the end. Okay. So, Mr. King, your DOC number is 380905. You are seeking a pardon with restoration of firearms. You were sentenced in September 1997 in Lincoln Parish, the 3rd Judicial District, 5 counts of simple arson. You received a 4-year hard labor sentence. Is that information correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Would you answer any questions Mr. Freeman may have?
Okay, Mr. King, good morning.
Good morning.
How old are you, Mr. King?
46 years old.
Okay, what's your educational level?
High school.
Okay, thank you. Mr. King, what exactly was your involvement in the arson?
I was a friend of the gentleman that was a volunteer fireman. I was with him at the time he set fire, and my association with him makes me just as guilty as he.
Correct. Okay.
I take full responsibility for my action. I'm a better person for learning my lesson.
Okay, and how long ago did this happen?
Well, this was back between 1990, the end of 95 and 96, I believe.
I saw you had one other arrest on your record. What was it for?
That's the simple battery charge.
Yeah, which was dismissed by the DA.
Yes, sir. I walked in and caught my stepfather abusing my mom physically, and I intervened and I took care of what needed to be taken care of.
Mr. King, I see that you had 2 prior applications that were denied. Do you know why? Did they give you a reason?
I have the first application was approved under Governor General's.
Right, and that was signed.
And he took no action. And I returned the proper amount of time later in 2017 under Governor Edwards' board, and I was denied. And the letter stated strong judicial opposition, but excuse me, but the judge that sentenced me and had overheard the case had long since been retired and moved on. So I couldn't understand why there was strong opposition. I later found out through someone who worked at the district attorney's office and through the sheriff's office that was their basic protocol for anytime anybody went before a board, that was a situation that they automatically opposed anything, and I couldn't.
Could be. We understand you can do nothing about community comment, law enforcement comments, or victim comments. For that matter, your victim was George Love. He's deceased. He was unopposed in 2009, but now he's no longer with us. You've been working at Century Ready Mix, correct?
Yes, sir. that is-
And how long have you been employed with them?
I was employed at Century Ready Mix for, 8 years on the first round, and then I've been with them for, 14 years this time. I left for a brief period thinking the grass was greener on the other side with another job, which
Okay.
they were in need of my expertise on the stuff that we deal with every day to day. My ability to be a plant manager and supervisor, and they were in a situation, and I was only so glad to come back and work.
How many employees do you supervise?
It varies. I have a crew of 15 at my facility, but me being a corporate supervisor, I oversee other employees at others. If I have to be sent to that facility for, whatever the work was.
Okay, are you married, Mr. King?
No, sir, I'm not.
Do you have any kids?
I do. I have a daughter. She's 13, and I have he's not my biological son. He's the son that I've helped raise with my partner. She's she's been real good to me, and we have a daughter together. So,
Okay, and how long have you and your partner been together?
15 years.
All right, let's see, and why do you, want this application? What is your main goal for getting this application?
Well, my main goal is that I accept responsibility for what I did, and I would love to be able to engage in, taking my daughter out and, showing her the outdoors as far as hunting and being able to go hunting with some customers. Our customers, they take us as managers, they often take us hunting and stuff. And I've never been able to go because of this situation here. And I just, plus we have no, living out in the country, we're quite a ways from, law enforcement response sometimes. So, with being a convicted felon, being not able to possess a firearm, it kind of opens the door to not being able to properly protect the family if they need rights.
You have tons of letters, one of them was from the sheriff. He said, Mr. King has been employed with Century Ready Mix for many years in the position of plant manager with a stellar record of attendance. He is a hard worker and has earned the respect and trust from the people who work with him. John is devoted to his church, which he has been a member of since he was born. John is also a devoted family man. I do not have any objections to him being considered for part. Okay, and you had numerous other letters. Mr. Smith, you wrote a letter. I think you had probably 10 letters, 5, a bunch of family members, bunch of people who wanted to vouch for you. Last question, what kind of community service do you do? Do you do anything in the community? Belong to any clubs, organizations?
With my work schedule, it's kind of hard to do anything extracurricular a lot. I was involved with the St. Jude walkathon. We do the touch a truck event every year. That is, we do that for the autistic children every Halloween. We participate in that. We've been a participant in that for the last 4 years. We'll take a mixer truck over to the Hamilton Expo Center up there, and they'll have cranes and fire trucks and such and such. I don't know how they do it down here, but that's what we do up there. And it brings a lot of joy in my life to see the kids smile and be able to climb up in the trucks and blow the horns and trick or treat through there with their costumes on. We give them candy and stuff. Yes, I try to do things when I can.
Okay. I have no further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions?
How old were you when the fire was set?
I was 17, and then when I turned 18, that's when they decided they were rich. I was 17 at the time when it all started.
And what about the fellow that you were with? He was a volunteer fireman?
Yes, sir. He was a volunteer fireman. I haven't had any contact with him since. I really don't care to, so, but he was a volunteer.
What was he doing that for?
I have no idea. I can't speculate what was going on in his mind.
I mean, y'all didn't have any conversation about it?
If I really don't know. He never really said I think he got the thrill of getting called out for the fire. I mean, I don't know. I know that looking back on it, it's a real idiotic thing. I can't speak for him. I don't know what his actual intention was. All better person I am.
You gotta help me here some, okay?
Okay.
If you do something that many times with somebody, there's gotta be a little discourse twixt the two of you, as they say in the country. Y'all have to talk about why you're setting fires.
Well, I know for a couple of them, I believe he had, if I remember right, this has been a long time ago. I know that some of the dumpsters was overfilled, but I mean, this is like this, I don't remember actual conversations that he would have with me. But I think that's what it was.
And some of them were overfilled.
Yes, sir, I believe that's, I know a bunch of them were overfilled, but I don't know if that was his full intent, but I know that he had burned a pile of wood that used to be a barn. I do remember that, but as to the reasoning why, I couldn't, I just know that he was, but I stand before you, let me in there and just give it. That's what I take full responsibility for my.
I guess I'm clear as I'll ever be.
It's hard to remember back that far. I mean,
Well, it's not really. When something that serious happens, that impacts your life so much that now 20, 30 years later, you're trying to get it cleared off of your record. It's not something insignificant that happened just one time. This happened a number of times. You were there. You accompanied him each time. There had to be some reason, unless you were just a robot or just a real follower, that there had to have been something. And
well, he was my ride. I did not have a way to go. I was riding with him to to the store or to a gas station or to get something to eat, because being from a lower income family, my father was not able to provide me with a ride, and I was not able, making any money to be able to, buy a ride, and he had a way to go. And that's why I was there with him. That's about as, I guess, as plain as I can put it. He was my way to go, and that's no excuse. That's true. I mean, he didn't tell me every time he was going to start the fire. I mean, I had no idea. I mean,
well, the way it sounds is that you just sat in the car and he would pull up to an overfilled dumpster, kind of like it was almost a community service to burn this dumpster, and that he'd get back in the car and then y'all would go get some chips down the street at the store. And there'd be no conversation about it, but there had to be, hey, he had to call you and say, hey, let's go, I'm gonna go start a fire. Come on, ride with me. Or I'm gonna do this so we get called out, or I'm gonna, I know you're remorseful and I know you put this behind you and all that, but I'm just trying to determine, because we have to decide what's the best for the public going forward. And so we have to reach a level of comfort here with this board, at the same time treating you fairly. And that's why I'm going so deep in this and taking so much time, but if we're there, we're there. Okay.
So Mr. King, in your application, you did explain that you relied on this guy. His name is Billy Joe Cruz. You relied on him for transportation. But you said, I think, that you were only at one dumpster fire So you pled guilty to 5 counts of arson, simple arson. But I believe in the record, there were 14 different fires set throughout Lincoln Parish. So how many of those were you present?
I was present at one fire, like I stated. The reason why I pled the 5 is that's what the district attorney's office come back at me with. And being the age that I was, I didn't understand anything. I had a public defender. I know it sounds like I'm making excuses, but it's the truth. And they originally charged me with all 14 counts. And my public defender had come back and said, well, we can either, you can plea of 5 counts and do 2 years, or later 2 years on parole, or we can go to trial for the whole 14 and you'll get out sometime at 65 or 70 years old. I wasn't going to take that 9 counts.
And you mentioned you have no contact and have had no contact with Mr. Cruz.
That's correct. I have not.
Any other questions? All right, well, let's hear from your friend, Mr. Smith. We'd like to hear from you, sir.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
How y'all this morning?
Great.
I want you to know I really appreciate the opportunity to come and speak on behalf of my friend. My name is Jake Smith. I'm involved in prison ministry and associated with my church Revival Center, Vision Revival Center, in Stark, Louisiana, under with E. Jones. And I'd like to just say that I appreciate the fact that you guys are trying to understand John's situation. This happened when he was 17 years old. I'm also the safety manager and human resource manager for Century Eagland. So yearly, I have to run John's MVR because he's a CDL driver, operator, an operator on mixers, working on plants. And for 10 years I've been with this company, he's had an exemplary record. On his MVR, he's never even had a speeding ticket. He's by the book to a fault. He does everything by the book. And I've really come to love this man. He is one of the most loyal friends that I have. I felt like it was my duty and honor to be here today. Let's tell you all just a little bit about him. The reason why I'm asking for some grace and mercy in this situation is in prison ministry, I've had the opportunity to go and speak to a lot of these guys that have been in prison for quite some time. And as you know, I think one of you guys made a statement earlier, we want to do what's best for our society. You go into these prisons, these guys, a lot of these guys are hopeless. They don't see their family. They're dealing with so much, and have someone come in and share with them, hey, look, I've got a past, but look what the Lord has done for me. And I've literally seen some of those guys in there that are just rigid and hard, and you cannot break them. And you begin talking to them about, some of the things that you went through, and you can share that with them. And I believe John is going to have a great testimony of what he has been through. And I believe that he can be using that capacity to help that. So for our society, if there's some young man that is changed, just one of them, and it's eternal impact, just that one soul, how valuable is that to him? So I'd like to be able to take John with me in some of those prisons and just allow him to testify and just give his testimony about his life and what the impact on making a decision, and then also choosing who your friends are. And I think a big part of this was the fact that John, at 17 years old, made a bad decision and that he chose a bad friend. So the Word of God says that we are overcomers by the word of our testimony and by the blood of the Lamb. So I believe that will be the greatest impact that John will have as his testimony. So I pray that today that you guys will give us an opportunity for a little grace and mercy here, that John will be able to use that to tell some of these guys in prisons what he's been through and what he's accomplished.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for being here. Mr. King, is there anything else you'd like to say to us before we vote?
I'd just like to say that I appreciate y'all having me here today. Sorry I couldn't answer question is in depth, you wanted,
Yes.
you know, I apologize for that, but I just can't remember a whole lot about it. It's part of my life that I blocked out. But as, Jake's said, I stand before you today, Jim, so. I just thank you for having me down here and being willing to listen to me.
All right, thank you, sir. Think, board's prepared to vote. Mr. Freeman?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. You know, Mr. King, you say you were involved in one fire, so I wish I'd have got more in depth than that while we was talking. So you wasn't at the barn is what you're telling me. You were just at the dumpster?
That's right.
You've done great at your job. You've had a cleansing period over 24 years, no speeding tickets, no problems with the law whatsoever. You have great support from the community, your pastor and all your friends, the sheriff's letter also was influencing, and you still did have opposition from the judge and the DA. So my vote today would be to grant your pardon with restoration of power.
Mr. Tillis?
I concur.
Mrs. Stapleton?
I concur.
Thank you. Mr. Prater?
I concur.
All right, and, as do I. My vote is the same, sir, to make the recommendation of pardon with restoration of firearms to Governor Landry. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
tell your name and your current mailing address.
Good morning. My name is Anthony Eagland. My address is 201 Settlers Trade Boulevard, number 4218, Lafayette, Louisiana, 70508.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Eagland. I'm sorry for host. I'll just lean over. Let me introduce the pardon board to you. My name is Cheryl Renatza, serving as chairman today. To my far left is Mrs. Carolyn Stapleton. This is Mr. Steve Prater. To my right, Mr. Pete Freeman, and to his right is Mr. Chucky Tillis. I'm going to read some identifying information into the record, Mr. Eagland, and then I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Stapleton because your case has been assigned to her. She'll take the lead on the unit. And we'll hear from, let's see, you have here with you Mr. Kenneth Fox. Welcome. Good morning. Thanks for being here. And you have indicated you're here in support, but you don't want to speak. Okay. Before we vote, after we conclude our interview, Mr. Eagland, before we vote, you'll be allowed to make a statement if you'd like to do so. Okay. So Anthony Eagland, your DOC number is 92261. You are seeking a pardon with restoration of firearms. You were sentenced in March 1982 in the 15th Judicial District in Lafayette to 5 years on each count: possession of Schedule II stimulants, possession of Schedule II opiates. 5 years on each of those running concurrently. Is that information correct, sir?
Yes.
All right. Would you answer any questions Mrs. Stapleton has?
Good morning, sir. I'm glad you were able to make it in person. I have a question. Now, that happened in 1982, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and then it looks like you right away, as soon as you could, you started going to college to start getting your degrees. Can you tell me a little bit about that? You got some history there and you moved to California.
Yes. I was paroled from custody in October 1982. I enrolled at the University of Ballard in Louisiana in January the following year. Graduated from USL with a Bachelor's of Arts in 1985. I attended Southern University Law Center from 1985 to 1988. Graduated there. I proceeded to Emory University, Emory Law School, where I received an LLM, Master's of Law and Litigation, that was bar in Louisiana in 1988. Passed it on first attempt. I went directly to Los Angeles, California, second bar in Los Angeles, California. Took me 2 tries for the California bar because California laws common law. I was actually trained in civil here in Eagland. From there, I was employed by the Federal Public Defender's Office since August 1990. I worked 21 years with the Federal Public Defender's Office, retired after 21 years with the title of Senior Litigator. There was only one person holding that title. From 2011 to 2020, I was a private practitioner practicing mostly federal criminal defense. I was a member of the Criminal Justice Act panel and was appointed dedicated to doing pretty much the same thing that I was doing at the Federal Public Defender's Office. 2020, I decided to pack my bags and come home. At that time, everyone was shelter in place. I was shelter in place, and I liked it a bit. My intention was to continue practicing law in Louisiana. I have yet to set up shop. It is doubtful that I will continue to practice law for hire. However, I have been very active in the community. I pretty much practice the entirety of my practice in Louisiana is program in the community, which I do assisting people who really cannot afford most.
That would be more civil or criminal counsel or both.
Mostly civil, wills and trust, property transfer, notarizing, except
That's what brings us here today.
that's the only thing that, I'm not afforded at public, happening.
Let me ask you something. The charge back in 1982, the drugs
Yeah,
and with distribution, that was, how old were you in that house?
I was 25 years old.
25. That was so severe. And then your life took such a positive, severe turn the minute you got out from that and you moved forward in a totally positive direction and left that behind. What brought you to that at 25 years old? How did that happen to you? Because it's so stark, the difference.
The offense occurred when I was, yeah,
Yeah,
I was in my early 20s.
yes.
I disappointed a lot of people. Disappointed my family. And I assured him.
Yeah.
That was behind. And everything was ahead.
And you made good on
I mean, good.
it. Were you in college at that time at 25 when that had happened to you? When you, or were you kind of like no direction in your life at that
I
time?
was not. I graduated from high school in 1973.
Uh-huh.
I enrolled at the University of Southwest Louisiana. After 2.5 years, I didn't do as well as I should because I divided my time between college and the streets.
I understand.
I chose a short path, you know, I did things that caused me to leave towards the end.
But I do understand. And what I understand the best, and I'm so pleased to read, you made such a positive turnabout in your life. That really you could be an example for a lot of young people that make a mistake and wonder if they can ever make it right. Because like you said, I mean, I could see how it hurts you to think that you hurt your family, their expectations, and that's a hard pill to swallow at any age. And listen, I do want to ask you about one other thing. You had a DV charge in 92 in Los Angeles. And it looks like that all got cleared up. I mean, it's an ex-wife or something.
It was an ex-girlfriend. It was the eve of the breakup. Which escalated from argument to pushing and shoving, and I ultimately struggled with that which I had in my hand at the time. Law enforcement involved, and I went through the judicial system.
Your children wrote wonderful letters about their father of support, so that was a very good thing. I don't know why, because really I think that everything you've done is on it. You have no further hiccups in your life. You've done nothing but good and pursued a career. You've not ran into law enforcement with any kind of problem since then. And I think that's something to be proud of, you know, that you turned your life around and that now you're doing pro bono work. That is wonderful. There's so many people, they cannot afford an attorney, and there's things that need to be done. So I think that speaks very well of you. And as far as your community, for some reason, I mean, law enforcement has opposition to your party. But I don't. So I'm gonna pass it to whoever would like to speak next.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? All right, I see no other questions. Mr. Eagland, would you like to make a statement before we vote?
upon completion of my family, I was granted a first offender pardon. That first offender pardon did not interfere with with my pursuit. They go to law school, or they sit for in both Louisiana and in California. I'm very thankful for that first offender pardon. I didn't think that I would see anything further from the judicial system. On returning to Louisiana and assisting people with pro bono work, I was called upon many times to notarize documents. That was one thing that I was unable to do. I sought to become a notary, which is a privilege for all attorney, a matter of job that we have. I was informed that in order to be a notary, you need to have those forms. Thus, the application, your answer. I appeal to you all to seriously consider my application. I would ask for your support.
Mr. Eagland, I think we are prepared to
Let
vote.
me say,
Okay, Mr.
so that you, and I'm not correcting you, but so that you fully understand, and the ones that might be listening, fully understand when you say law enforcement objection to your, many times sheriffs, chiefs of police, district attorneys, many times I speak from experience, get a letter in the mail and it says, did so-and-so, are you opposed to their pardon or, you know, and you don't do any research. You say our office is always opposed to pardons or such as that. So when you say law enforcement may be opposed to all pardons, and that's their office or their says that. And so I didn't want you to leave out from here saying some people in law enforcement don't like me or don't want me to get this. It's just the policy that anytime they get a letter like that, they send one back to the post. Do you understand what I'm saying? I just wanted to straighten that out on behalf of my law enforcement
And that's
brothers
a
and
good
sisters.
point, you know, that it will say blanket opposition, and there, like you said, it's not the individual, it's blanket opposition, and so that's a good thing to know and a good correction, so that would be the case. So are we ready to vote?
Ms. Davis.
Well, I'm prepared to give you the pardon with restoration of firearms.
I concur.
Mr. Freeman.
Due to your long period of being arrest-free and all the accomplishments you have made, I also vote to grant it with restoration of firearms.
And Mr. Tillis. Mr. Tillis.
I vote to grant.
With firearms.
Yes.
And Mr. Eagland, my vote is to grant your application, recommend a pardon with restoration of firearms based on your community service work and the barrier that you experience for your notary work that you do. So we will make that recommendation on your behalf to Governor Landry. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you all.
Listen.
Thank you.
By the way, I got something, you notarize this for me?
Frasier, currently at 8720 River Road, Abbeville, LA 70510.
All right, and let me introduce the board to you. We don't have our name tags on. I'll introduce everybody to you. To my far left is Mrs. Stapleton. To my immediate left, Mr. Prater. My name is Cheryl Renatza. To my right is Mr. Freeman, and to his right is Mr. Tillins.
Good morning.
I want to welcome your mother, Ms. Yvette Frazier.
Yes,
Thanks
ma'am.
for being here, and you want to speak on his behalf, and we'll
Yes,
call
ma'am.
on you to do so at the appropriate time.
Thank you.
First, Mr. Frazier, I'm going to read just some identifying information into the record, ask you to confirm it, then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Prater. Your case has been assigned to him. He'll take the lead on the interview. Once we complete our questioning, we'll hear from your mom, and at the end, you'll be allowed to make a statement if you'd like to do so before we vote. All right, it's Gabriel, right? Gabriel Frasier. Your DOC number of record is 701-775. You're seeking a pardon with restoration of firearms. You were sentenced in the 15th Judicial District in Lafayette, August of 2015 for a simple burglary conviction. You received 2 years probation.
That is
Is
correct.
that correct?
Yes.
Yes. Would you answer Mr. Prater's questions, please?
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
How old are you right now?
Just turned 39.
How old were you when this occurred?
I suppose it was about 8 years ago, so around 26, 27.
Okay, that's
Maybe 30, early 30, not sure.
may have been when?
I'm guessing around 30, 31.
Okay, so that's pretty old to be doing such a juvenile stunt. Are you still going to AA meetings?
AA meetings? No, sir.
Okay, did you go some?
Yes, I did.
Okay, do you drink now?
No, I don't drink.
Okay, do you do any kind of,
Don't
I know
drink.
you're not
I don't
gonna
do
admit
drugs.
to smoking drugs,
I
smoking,
don't steal, I don't lie, I'm clean. I live a very clean life with my parents.
okay. Well, okay, do you have a job?
I'm self-employed, I do construction. Odd jobs.
Did you work Thursday and Friday last week?
No, I have not. I have not worked since I graduated from, I took a course from the New Area campus in heavy equipment operation, and I have my certification. And so, that was around, 2 months ago, and I have not done any work since then.
Have you applied?
No, I'm waiting until I get this cleaned up in my record, so that when I do apply, I don't want it to show up. I don't want charges to show up at all. When I do a job search.
All right, I assume then you have a driver's license.
Yes, I do.
Have you had any tickets?
No, I have not.
Okay. Notice the DA is unopposed, but, interim chief, the sheriff spokesman, both say no, but it could be that they have a blanket policy of saying no to all pardon requests, so I'm not sure about that. The victim says they're unopposed to this. You made complete restitution, correct?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And so tell me again, so I hear it, so I don't have to look at my notes. How long has it been since you did this?
It's been 9 years since my conviction.
Okay.
During 2015.
And you were drunk when it occurred, correct?
Yes, I was.
And you don't drink now?
No, I don't. Haven't touched stuff since.
Okay, did you wait on the police to get there
Yes, I did.
after you heard the burglar alarm?
I waited in the parking lot. And I do not resist. They showed up after I exited the back door from Shawowski's. With a ton of chips and, some meat. And I just waited for them. So they surrounded me. They told me to put my hands up. I didn't resist. They took me in. They hooked me. And so I'm here today as a full restitution. And since then, I've not committed any crimes. I don't drink. I don't smoke. Like I said, I live a clean life.
Okay, and all right, so just to be clear, were you hungry that night? And you got drunk?
I was hungry. It was a bad situation for me because I had low relief conditions. I didn't have very much money. I was hungry and I was currently attending SLCC and I was failing my Algebra 2 math class. And,
Hold on just a second. I don't know if I heard a machine going or something, but I couldn't hear it. Start over with that last. When I said, were you drunk and hungry? Tell me,
yes, I was.
okay, and keep going.
I was drunk off a skull vodka. And, I was hungry because my refrigerator was empty and we didn't have very much money. And I was currently, at that time, 2015, attending SLCC off the Bird Train in Lafayette. I was attending it as a transfer student for engineering, mechanical engineering. And, I had a course in a math class. It was an Algebra 2 math class. I had positive I was going to pass an exam that I was assigned to that week. And I don't know what triggered me, but the alcohol didn't help. And I just decided, and it was a bad decision, regardless of whether Shawowski's was open or not, to break in, make myself a sandwich, exit the back door, like nothing had happened. Yeah.
Okay. Why'd you pick Schlotzsky's? You like their sandwiches? You like them? Still eat them?
No, I haven't actually walked into a Shawowski's since the burglary.
Okay, just got a little bit of truth. Okay, and you live with your folks. What's your future plan? What's your plan for your life?
My plan is that if I can get my status as a full citizen restored, I'd like to apply either for a government job, working heavy machinery, or in the private sector, maybe with some local farmers, operating things like skid steers or backhoes, or my personal favorite is an excavator, large excavator. And I really enjoy working with heavy machinery. It's like, if I can get a job doing that, I can earn a little bit more money. And then when I can get my final certification in what's called the Heavy Equipment Operation 3, then I can operate cranes. And that's my goal. My future goal is to be a crane operator. Working with large cranes, offshore or inland.
Okay. And to wrap it up here, so we don't spend all day on this particular thing, the thing that concerns me most is that was such erratic behavior at such an old age in your life, spurned by, if that's the right word, spurred, whatever, brought on by alcohol. You went to AA, but now you no longer have to go to AA. And that concerns me a little bit. Tell me the last time you had a drink and how you're coping without AA.
I don't remember the exact date of the last time I had a drink. I do remember it was a low calorie Miller Lite. And I don't recall, but it's been years and years, I would say 5 or 6 years ago. And it was a single beer. And I had just tasted it just to see what a low calorie beer tasted like compared to what I used to drink, which was like malt liquor, like cheap malt liquor, like Old English. So that was it about 5 years ago. I haven't touched this stuff. I don't drink, and I really can't because of my diet. I'm on something called ketogenic diet, and so I'm very low carb, and alcohol is kind of a carbohydrate. So I stay away from these sort of refined carbs, especially maltose, which is wheat. And I don't drink alcohol because of burglary. I stopped that. It was to be arrested in New York. It was very traumatizing, and it's not. I don't see a future in that at all. And drinking led to that. Drinking is not going to be a part of my life, and I don't feel the need to drink. So I just took it out of my mouth. I don't drink at all. Anything with alcohol.
That's all I have.
Okay, when did you get off the supervision?
I think 2 years after my conviction. So if it was during 2015 or 2017, maybe late 2018, I completely returned from my parole.
And you've been totally off supervision and totally under the crow for about 6 years, then you would say.
Yes.
And no speeding tickets, no stops.
Yes, that's correct. No speeding tickets, no
Okay.
theft, no burglary, no drinking, no lying. It was very straight life, like I said.
Okay, last question. Have you ever received treatment for drugs? Any kind of treatment? I see you kind of had a little problem in the eighties.
In the eighties.
So it looks like. You got it, not the eighties. George. Didn't you have another arrest for drugs?
No, sir.
Just that one, just a
Just
burn.
It's
Okay,
a simple burglary, from Shalosky's.
but you never did get any kind of treatment for drugs, even though you were under the influence at that time.
That's correct. It was under the influence.
All right.
Alcohol, and drugs.
So do you, you indicate you've not applied for any jobs since you got your heavy equipment course completed?
That is correct.
And your reason is, again, tell
I
us.
don't want the felony to show under job search. I applied for jobs in the past. There's a local business where I live called Tops, and as soon as they found out after they performed the job search that I had a felony, I never heard a call back from them, and I was assured a job of a manager, they found a hiring manager. But he later informed me that, well, they didn't feel the employees at Tops didn't feel comfortable working with the felon, no matter what the case was. So I just don't want that to happen.
Is it the
again.
only time you've been denied an employment opportunity based on a felony conviction?
No, but that's a recent one, and I've done, like I said, a lot of jobs, working in residential construction, you know, things like drywall, carpentry, concrete, things like that.
You know, this process is quite lengthy. I don't know, I mean, I know what you applied in 2021 for
Yes, and I
Clemency.
was informed that there was a death on the board, and that my hearing had been rescheduled. I'm sorry to hear about that.
Yeah. Okay, I don't see any other questions. Let's hear from your mother. Ma'am, would you step up to the podium, Ms. Frasier?
Thank you for your time.
We're gonna hear from you again. Go ahead, ma'am. We should just, whatever you'd like us to know.
This poll is in.
I know, sorry.
Can I stand
Yeah,
right here?
sure.
Can all of y'all see
Yeah,
me?
sure. Go ahead.
Great. My name is Yvette Frasier, and I am the proud mother of Gabriel, my fourth and last son. And I'm hoping we can get a lot of tasks cleared up so he can get on with his life. I'm a retired supervisor of the Lafayette Parish School System as a special ed supervisor. I retired in December of 2023. And I wanted to come here to speak to you and tell you he's been a model citizen. A support to his dad and I. His dad is 73 and has some physical problems, and he's helped us. I don't want him to live with us all of his life. I do want him to get on, and that's why I'm here to support him. Gabriel has some issues that need to be discussed, and one of them is he's a high functioning Asperger. Very high functioning. I don't know if you can tell when he speaks and how he speaks. And I think sometimes a lot of us who are not Asperger have a hard time relating to the disability. So I'm praying and hoping that the board will recommend that he can go to our governor for a full pardon and not have this on his record. He goes to church with us every Sunday, Youngsville Community Church in Youngsville. He does not drink, he does not smoke. Matter of fact, his diet keto is so strict that it drives us crazy, quite frankly. It's a lot of protein, fat, MCT, all things like that, but he's stuck with it for a while. Trying to see if there's anything. Any questions you might have?
Is the diet prescribed for the disability, or that's just a
I
choice?
would think it helps it
Helps.
because he is not on any type of sugar at all. He doesn't have carbohydrates, and if he has, it's a special carbohydrate that's made for keto. And he's on Vyvanse, which is a prescription that he gets from his doctor, which helps him to stay focused. And I'm trying to see what else, anything special beside that?
That's it.
A lot of protein, he's, and that is it, yeah.
The diet wasn't prescribed by a physician. But it's helped me, it's stabilized me, it's kept me away from other things like alcohol, and it trigger that sort of behavior.
Right. Yes. All right. Well, thank you, Missy Deb, for
Anything
speaking with
else?
us. No, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you all for your time.
All right, Gabriel, you want to step back up? And is there anything else you'd like to say to us before we vote?
I appreciate your time, I hope you consider, what I have to say, and, I would like Governor Jeff Lang to grant a full pardon, and I would like to approve himself. And if there's anything else you'd like to ask me, I don't want to take any more time than I have to.
I have one question.
All right, Ms.
Do,
Stacey.
we have pardon and we have pardon with restoration of firearms. Do you need a firearm?
I'd like one, yes, I'd like the ability to have a firearm, the hunt and also do the myself. And right now I can't do that, so I can't have, any sort of weapon, so.
Okay, thank you. We're prepared to vote, Mr. Prater?
Yes, ma'am. After hearing from your mom and everything you had to say and reviewing your record and the answers to my questions, I don't have a problem with granting.
Thank you, sir.
That's my vote, with restaurant.
Mr. Freeman,
I concur with Mr. Prater.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Tillis,
Concur.
Thank you.
Mrs. Stapleton,
I concur.
Thank you, ma'am.
and my vote also is favorable. So on your behalf, sir, we're going to make the recommendation to Governor Landry for full pardon with restoration of firearms.
That's all.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
Now, do know there's no time limit that he has to act, so it is quite a process. So the next correspondence you'll get will be from that office.
Okay,
Okay, good luck to you.
thank you. very
Thank
much.
you.
Hello? Are y'all there?
All right, good morning, sir. Mr. Jones? I think you're on mute. Can you
Yeah, okay. I was
unmute?
trying to get it unmuted. I'm sorry.
Okay, good morning, sir. Would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and your current mailing address.
Yeah, my name is Stefan Jones. My address is 2833 Old Marksville Highway, Pineville, Louisiana, 71360.
All right, thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones, I'll introduce the board to you. My name is Cheryl Renatza. Seated to my far left is Mrs. Stapleton. To my immediate left, Mr. Prater. My immediate right is Mr. Freeman, and to his right is Mr. Tillis. Mr. Jones, your case has been assigned to Mr. Prater. So first I'll read some identifying information into the record, ask you to confirm it. Then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Prater. He'll take the lead on the interview questions. We also have joining us today by Zoom, is a representative from the District Attorney's Office, Mr. Derek Johnson, and he's asked to have some input. So we'll call on him at the appropriate time. When we're done with all that, at the very end, you'll be allowed to make a statement if you'd like to before we reach a decision. You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Jones, your DOC number is 531572. You're here today seeking a pardon with restoration of firearms. You were sentenced in the 9th Judicial District, Rapides Parish, in December 2007, 2 counts for aggravated assault with a firearm. Excuse me, you received a 5-year sentence that was suspended and you were placed on 5 years active supervised probation. Is that information correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, would you answer Mr. Prater's questions, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Jones, would you tell me about the evening and early morning in 2006 where you were arrested? Because I've got some conflicting things, or it seemed to be conflicting. So tell me about that from your viewpoint. What happened?
Yes, sir. I was at my home at 4:00 a.m. and I was awakened by abrupt beating on my door. Sounded like they were beating it in. And I answered the door, and I was jumped on by one of the people who was there, and I threw them off of me 3 times. They scratched my face and stuff. And then a guy that I told not to show up here showed up with a pistol tucked in his pants, and he proceeded to act like he wanted to fight. And I looked at him and seen he had a pistol, so I backed up in my house and got my pistol. And by the time I got back out, he had jumped in his car and started shooting at me. And then I told him he better leave, or I was going to show him how to shoot. And then I fired back at him, and I wasn't intended to kill him or nothing, or hit him. I was just firing at his truck, and I hit everything I was aiming at, and he pulled off, and they went to the Huey P. Long. I heard everything after that is hearsay. That's actually all I can tell you. It was 4:00 in the morning. I was awakened and assaulted, and I was shot at first, and I returned fire to run them off. That was all I intended to do. I didn't intend to, shoot anyone, and I didn't. And then I came back in the house, and SWAT team showed up, and I guess took a couple of hours for them to talk me into giving up. But I did without any incident. And then that's about all I can tell you about that night and that morning, early that morning, Sunday morning, I believe it was.
Okay, y'all been out at the one, okay. When you were assaulted, when you were abruptly awakened, you were assaulted by a male or a female?
That was a female.
Okay, did you know this female?
Yes, sir.
Had you been drinking with that female earlier in the evening at the same bar?
No, I hadn't been drinking. I was there with her, but I was on a motorcycle and I don't drink while I was on a motorcycle. When I got home, I broke open a gallon of scotch and started drinking when I got home about 11 o'clock that evening. And I passed out here at the house, and then I was awakened at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
When I answered the door, she had a knife on her. She had gotten dressed that evening and put a knife on her. I seen that, and then when I seen he was armed with a gun, after I'd thrown her off of me about 3 times, she was, beating on me. Then,
Okay,
I knew they both were armed.
okay, and so you knew the second assailant also.
No, I met him at the bar that night because she was getting out of the truck with him, and she had told me that was her boyfriend, who she was getting crack for, and he was using her to buy his crack and to have a threesome with him and another individual on crack. And I was trying to help her out because I knew her grandfather was a friend of mine, been a friend of mine since I was 14. And I was trying to get her off of that stuff.
Okay, so that the board, I'm sure they've read this, so that the board and the public that might be watching this understands, you had been living with this assailant, this person that abruptly woke you up. You had been living with her, correct?
No, she had been in my house for about a week.
Okay, so you'd been living with her for about a week, and you took her items and you put them in something and put them on the porch for her to pick up, correct?
That's correct.
So you knew she was going to come by there.
I told him to come by the next day. I told him never to come here.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't want to get too lengthy with all this and I'm just trying to understand the situation. They abruptly woke you up, attacked you, and next thing you know, you're going back into your house. So after they abruptly woke you up and attacked you, all of a sudden you're outside. How did that happen? To where you have to go back inside to get your gun.
Yeah, that's what I did. I stepped back in my house to get my gun out of the drawer right next to my door because I seen he was armed.
So what I'm saying is when you were awakened abruptly and attacked, normally that occurs inside your home. Somebody has pushed their way in or shoved their way, but y'all are outside.
No, yeah, I answered the door. I was in my doorway.
Outside.
I was in my doorway in the carport.
Okay. All right. So you went back and you shot, you didn't mean to, you shot it, you hit what you aimed at.
He shot at me.
But you didn't want to hurt him. But according to the police reports, you knocked out the passenger side glass, 3 shots went through there and some went into the door.
No, what happened was he shot at me 6 times. He had a 22 on a 44 frame. He shot at me 6 times. Well, and I was standing in my driveway, and then he was pulling off. Then I shot a round through his back glass, and then I shot a round through the back glass through the front glass. Then I put a round in his toolbox, and then a round in his tailgate, and then he started pulling out, and I put 2 rounds in the bottom crease of the door. And they were hollow points, so that's the only thing that they explode when they hit something, so they didn't penetrate into his cab, and that's exactly where my rounds went. and he was shooting rounds all around me 6 times before I ever fired the first round.
Okay, there was some discussion about whether you choked this assailant. Did you ever choke?
I never choked on. I never put my hands on her.
Okay.
I threw her off of me. She kept assaulting me and beating on me and scratching me, and I just grabbed her and threw her off of me. I never choked her. I never did anything aggressive to her, but defend myself, tried to throw her off of me 3 times.
All right, well, we'll move on, but the reason that you want this is for restoration of firearms, because you're a gunsmith or want to be a gunsmith, and you want add deer meat to your diet. Is that correct? Is that the reason you want us to even hunt and work on guns?
Yes, sir. And I was also thinking about opening up a rifle range to supplement my income.
Okay. I think I've heard enough. Let's see. Turn to you.
All right, Mr. Frank.
Okay, when she was jumping on you, were y'all outside under the carport, in the door, or in the house?
Yeah, I stepped out right outside my door in the carport. I was under the carport.
How did her body end up in the street?
I don't know. She was laying up here by the car. I fired a warning shot in the concrete, and I understand some of the concrete shattered on her, and she claimed that I shot her, but I didn't. And then the guy was started shooting at me, and she was laying up here in my carport.
So you fired the first shot. It was a warning shot.
Yeah, it was a warning shot in the ground. I had just went through training at Angola for a correction officer. I was a firefighter EMT correction officer at Angola prior to that, and they had taught me not to fire a warning shot in the air, to fire it in the ground. Well, I was under the carport and it hit concrete, and the concrete splattered, and she had thought that I had shot her, but it was the concrete had hit her that from my warning shot. And then he started shooting at me, and as I walked down the driveway and he started pulling off, that's when I shot his truck up.
Okay, I don't need anything further.
Ms. Stapleton, go ahead.
Yeah, I've got a question. You said that it took the SWAT team coming there in about 2 hours to calm you down to come outside. Did I hear you correctly when you said that?
Yes, ma'am.
So why did you not come out for the SWAT team? You knew you were safe with them.
Pardon me?
I mean, with a SWAT team, you knew it was police, you knew it was SWAT, so there was no reason to fear that they would just massacre you when you walked outside. Why didn't you come on out? So that this thing.
I had drank about a half a gallon of scotch when I got home, and I wasn't thinking properly.
Okay.
You know, I'm not trying to excuse myself. I realize I did have a lapse of judgment that, you know, and I was intoxicated at the time, and I wasn't thinking clearly. Okay. And I don't drink no more, and I you know, my favorite food is venison, and I was just wanting to. I don't have any assault weapons. I've got old classic guns. The most modern gun I have is a Remington 742 Woodmaster 30-06, and I have old shotguns and guns I inherited from my father, and guns that I had collected, like Winchester's old 1892 Winchesters, and handguns, revolvers, and I don't have any assault weapons or any automatic weapons. I haven't seen my guns in a long time. It's been 17 years since I had even seen them or cleaned them. I haven't touched a gun. I haven't even gotten a traffic ticket. or nothing. I'm a law-abiding citizen, and I just want my gun rights back so I can hunt before I get too old.
Thank you, sir.
So, Mr. Jones, where are your guns?
Well, I left him with a friend of mine who had died, and his wife, I think, sent them to her son-in-law's house now. I believe they're there. Some of them anyway. I believe some of them are missing.
All right, so just so I was a little confused when you were talking about all the different variety of weapons that you had, that you don't actually possess those.
Oh, no,
So-
ma'am. There's no guns here at my
I
house.
wanted to, okay, I just wanted to
Right.
clarify that. Are you
I have-
a
I haven't
veteran?
had, it's been said, yes, ma'am. I haven't had them guns. I haven't even seen them in 17 years.
All
I'm
right,
not even sure if they're all still around.
so you're a Navy veteran?
Yes, ma'am. I
All
was
right,
on the,
thank you
U-
for your
I was on the,
service.
U- pardon me.
Thank you for your service.
I appreciate you saying that.
I don't see any other questions by my colleagues. We'd like to hear from Mr. Johnson with the DA's office, please.
Is that the DA's office here in Ellick?
Yes, he's on the phone. He's gonna tune in. Is he there with us still? Coming in now.
Yes, I'm here.
All right, Mr. Johnson, what would you like us to know?
Well, our office still remains in the stance that we are against Mr. Mrs. Jones getting his gun privileges back due to the nature and the crime that he committed when he was found guilty of that. Nothing has been said today that has changed our stance.
All right, well, thank you, Mr. Johnson. We appreciate the input.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Jones, before we vote, is there anything you'd like to say to the board?
Well, like I said, I'm not trying to come up with any excuses. There's no reason why Mr. Johnson should have any reasons why he shouldn't allow me to have my gun rights back. I mean, I've been a law-abiding citizen. I haven't even gotten a traffic ticket. And I'd just like this to be over where I could clean my guns and get them back and to go hunting for venison again and continue as a law-abiding citizen that I have been. And as far as the guilty plea for the charges, I did that because my lawyer gave me ineffective counsel and spent more time trying to talk me into making a plea bargain than to because he didn't want to spend the time doing a trial jury, which it should have been done. But he had me so worried about going to jail for 45 years or so that he talked me into pleading guilty, which I shouldn't have done. And
Yes, sir.
because
Yes,
I
sir.
was standing,
We are prepared to vote now. We're gonna go ahead and vote, and Mr. Prater will be voting first.
Yes, sir. How old were you when this occurred?
I was 49 or 50.
Okay, all right. Due to a number of things I've heard today, and we have to make decisions on behalf of what we think is best for the individual, but we also weigh what is best for the public also. And I'm not convinced that something like this couldn't happen again. And I'm gonna vote to deny.
Mr. Freeman?
There's a lot of inconsistencies in the story, and a weapon was used. Even if I was to think about granting, I would not allow you to have a weapon. But I agree with Mr. Prater. My vote is to deny.
Mr. Tillis?
My vote's deny also.
Ms. Stapleton?
I agree. I to deny.
All right, Mr. Jones, I do agree there's some concerning conversation that I heard today. My vote today also is to deny. So, sir, your application for clemency has been denied this morning. Good luck to you, sir.
Do I
Hello. Hello.
All right, good morning, ma'am. Sorry for the wait.
Good morning.
Morning. Would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and your current mailing address, please.
Shavonda Williams, 114 Carmen Street, Lafayette, Louisiana, 70507.
Ma'am, good morning. Let me introduce the pardon board to you this morning. To my far left is Mrs. Stapleton. To my immediate left, Mr. Prater. My name is Cheryl Renatza. Mr. Freeman is to my right, and to his right is Mr. Tillins. Ms. Williams, I'm going to read some identifying information into the record, and then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Freeman. Your case has been assigned to him. He'll take the lead on the interview.
Thank you.
So, Shyvonda Williams, your DOC number is 403972. You're here this morning seeking a pardon with restoration of firearms. You were sentenced in the 15th Judicial District in Lafayette. And let's see, you were sentenced in October 1998 for an aggravated battery conviction. You received a 3-year sentence that was suspended, and you were placed on 4 years of probation. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Would you answer Mr. Freeman's questions, please?
Okay, Ms. Williams, what was going on that night between you and Marissa? I mean, what was the problem? And tell me the truth, what started it off?
So Marissa and the father of my 2 girls, I was pregnant at the time of the incident. They were having a secret relationship, and she had been calling my job, trying to get me fired. She had been calling my house. And the night of the incident, her mom and her brothers were at my boyfriend at the time, his basketball game. And her mom brought them over there. And after the basketball game was over, I was across with the guys who just finished playing basketball. And Marissa and her 2 brothers came running up and cursing me, and we got in a fight. They tried to jump me, and the guys from the basketball team, they kind of helped out to try to get them to leave me alone. And I was working at the time at this company where we had to rip bags. So I had a box cutter at the time in my pocket from work. And when they all came to attack me, I pulled it out and I swung it, and it hit her on the side of her face.
Okay. So, are you and Marissa kin?
We are not related at all by Williams. However, Marissa's uncle is married to my aunt. So we've known each other since we were children.
All right. And your boyfriend, that's Raven?
Raven Broussard, yes.
Okay. Are you still together with Raven?
No, we haven't been together in over 20 years.
Okay. All right. Do you have your children? I know they're grown now, huh?
I have a son after that situation. He's 19, and I have 5 grandsons.
What are you currently doing for employment?
Regional property manager for involved communities. I've been working in low-income housing for the last 20 years.
All right. Did you ever cut Raven Broussard? Did you cut some fingers off of him?
No, I'm sorry, no.
Okay, you sure?
I'm positive. Raven and I, back in the day, we used to fight a lot because he was constantly cheating, but I've never cut any of his fingers off, never.
The DA and the chief are opposed. Your family's not. A victim had no comment. Why do you say you need this pardon? In 2008, you needed it to get your nurse's license. Why do you need it now?
So I'm trying to further my career. I want to go for a VP position, and I would really like for my record to be clear when I do apply for this position. I've been a regional manager for 10 years in low-income housing. I've worked at the public housing in Lafayette, the same projects my mom raised us in. I became the public housing director over that years later. I am trying to get a VP position. And like I said, I just want to make sure that my record is clear. Since I've been in low-income housing, I've done a lot for the communities. I've even started a GED program for the city of Lafayette. And I was picking up the residents at the time when I was employed there so that they can get their GED. I've also been working with ARCH, which is the Coalition for Homelessness in Lafayette, to help those people get housing as well. My record for performance has been impeccable in my field, and I just want to further my career and make sure that when I do step into this next role that I'm trying to step into, that my record is clear, and I can also, you know, reach out to more people who's been through the same things that I've been through and who have changed their lives as well.
Great. All right, and you did receive a pardon back in 2009, is that correct? And it
Correct.
just was signed as Governor Jindal? Right?
Yes, Bobby Jindal was.
So apply for one during Governor Edwards' administration?
That's correct.
Did you? Okay, what
No,
happened?
I'm sorry. And when Bobby Jindal was the governor, I came down to Baton Rouge. I brought witnesses with me. We went through the entire thing. The pardon was granted. I received a letter in the mail saying that it was granted. But when I found out later that it wasn't signed by him. So I contacted an attorney's office. I contacted the pardon board, and I was told by one of the young ladies there that I would have to go through the process again because he didn't sign it.
Okay, and this is your first time back or not?
First time back.
Okay, I have no further question.
All right, any other questions?
Yeah,
Mr. Willis?
you said you wanted a pardon with, to have a gun also?
I'm sorry.
You also wanted to have a gun, permit to have a gun or be able to carry a gun? Or you just wanted a pardon?
No, actually at the time that's how I found out I wasn't pardoned. When I went to go, because I was going to do these gun classes, I was signing up in different states. I have a brother who is ex-military, and he wanted to do these gun classes, and we wanted to get licensed in every state. We were going to go into business together. To do this, I was kind of going to be the funding behind his program, and that's when I found out that I wasn't pardoned.
Do you think you need a gun?
No, definitely I do not need a gun, but I was going to do those classes with him and travel with him. I'm also, I have other businesses that I've started. I'm also a box truck business owner for Amazon. I've been doing that as well for almost 3 years, and I was going to help him out on his business side and do that with him.
So you won't need a gun?
No.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, any other questions? Ms. Williams, is there are no other participants, so is there anything you'd like to say to us before we vote?
Yes. It's been over 20 years. I've not been in any trouble since then. I've been, that was kind of an isolated situation. I was very young. I lacked a lot of guidance at the time. And I understand that what I did was wrong. I should have removed myself from that situation a long time ago when all of the drama started with Marissa, when she started calling my job and all of these things trying to get me fired. I should have separated myself from the situation, but I didn't. And I apologize for my actions in that situation. And I'm just asking you all to have some mercy on my situation and grant my pardon if you can. And I respect you all, and I thank you for taking this time to see me today.
Thank you, ma'am. I think we are prepared to vote.
I'd like to move for an executive session.
We have a motion for executive session. Could we get a roll call, please?
Renato,
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
Here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Ms. Williams, we'll be in executive session for a few moments to discuss confidential matters. Stand by. We'll be right back.
Yes, ma'am.
Williams, we're back in session. It's 10:52. We are prepared to vote. Mr. Freeman will be voting first. Mr. Freeman.
Okay, Ms. Williams, you do have a long cleansing period over 20 years. It was a violent crime. Also, I messed up, and I'll admit it on record. I did not see the second victim statement, and the victim is strongly opposed to this granting, so my vote is to deny.
Mr. Tillis.
My vote's to grant
With-
with,
Without
without,
firearms.
grant without,
Okay.
without fire.
Ms. Stapleton.
My vote is to deny due to, the crime was very violent and it took place at a basketball game. Although you have done extremely well since then, and that's, commendable, but your victim is, very opposed.
Mr. Prater.
I vote to deny.
Ms. Williams, you've received 3 votes to deny your application. I will concur based on the opposition that we've gotten from the victim and others. You have 1 favorable vote, though, but 4 votes to deny your application for clemency has been denied.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead, ma'am. What was the question?
I've not had any contact with the victim. Her brother actually called me and told me
Well,
that
It's irrelevant at this point. We have what we have in the record, so we're going to go with what we got. I'm sorry. Morning, Mr. Walker.
Good morning.
Would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and your current mailing address, please, sir.
My name is Dwight Walker, and my current address is 171 Trigg Court, Lilburn, Georgia,
And the zip?
30048.
Okay, thank you, sir. Let me introduce the pardon board to you. My name is Cheryl Renassa. Seated to my far left, Mrs. Stapleton. To my immediate left is Mr. Prater. To my immediate right is Mr. Freeman, and to his right is Mr. Tillis. Mr. Walker, I'm going to read some identifying information into the record, and then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Tillis. Your case has been assigned to him. He'll take the lead on the interview questions.
Okay.
So, Mr. Walker, your DOC number is 557604. You're here today seeking a pardon with restoration of firearms. You were sentenced in September 2009 in the 24th Judicial District, that's Jefferson Parish. Possession with intent to distribute marijuana. You received a 5-year DOC sentence that was suspended. You were placed on 2 years active supervised probation. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, would you answer any questions Mr. Tillis has, please?
Morning, how you doing? Okay.
I'm doing good. How are you?
All right, what have you been doing since you've been paroled?
I've been working. Since that happened, since I got off of probation, moved to Atlanta, Georgia. Got my CDLs. I just started my own business, my trucking company 2 years ago, and I'm in the process of moving. So I just been working.
You've been working?
Trouble.
You haven't had any more dealings with drugs?
No.
What happened then when you were dealing drugs? What was the reason?
Oh, basically just being a follower, just thinking that's something I wanted to do, and found out real quickly that's not nothing I want to do.
I see. How old are you now?
33, about to be 34 this month.
And you say you have your own business?
Yep.
Okay. I was reading your letter that why you felt like you should be pardoned. Is there anything else you want to add to that?
No, that's everything is just in the letter.
Okay.
And I mean, why I wanted to be pardoned, basically just, I want to buy land soon, me and my wife, and I want to learn how to go hunting, but I can't go hunting because I can't be around firearms. So that's the main reason why I want to do it. And I also want to put this behind because there have been other jobs where I'll apply for and I'll qualify for it, but once they do the background check, they'll deny it.
I see. Where are you planning on living?
I live in Georgia right now. Well, I plan on just living in Georgia.
And you need a gun, you want to go hunting, you really, really need to have a gun to go hunting?
You don't need it. I mean, to my knowledge, there's certain weapons you can't be around being a convicted felony, but I would like it.
Could you live without it?
I've been living without it so far.
So what I'm saying is you wouldn't really need to have one, would you?
Not necessarily.
What do you hunt?
You say when?
What do you hunt? What type of hunting do you do?
Oh, I haven't done any hunting.
Okay, I see. Okay, no more questions.
Mr. Walker, you mentioned you're in the process of moving. I think I heard you say that.
Yes, me and my wife were in the process of buying a home.
Oh, okay. So you're just moving to a different place in Georgia.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions?
How old were you when this happened?
I think I was 18, going on 19. I was 19 already.
And how old are you now?
33, about to be 34.
And what was the total amount of drugs that was seized when you were arrested?
2 ounces. I think it was like 2 ounces of marijuana.
And what other arrests do you have?
Say that again?
How many other arrests do you have?
That was it.
That was it. For 2 ounces of marijuana, it's a felony for this possession with intent, and it's that long.
Yeah, because originally when I got convicted, I wasn't convicted with the possession with the intent of distribution. They gave me drug diversion court, and I did that for like 6 months, and I missed a day. of going to a drug test because I didn't have a ride to get there. And that's when it was just like, I gotta go, since I missed the day, I gotta go to court. And that's when I got the probation.
So if you'd have had a ride that day, you'd have been diverted and we'd never know about it.
Correct.
That's sorry you didn't have a ride that day. I know you are.
Yeah.
All right, I don't see any other questions. Mr. Walker, anything you'd like to say to us before we vote?
No, I just want to say I appreciate the time and hopefully it works in my favor.
All right. Sir, I think we're prepared to vote. Mr. Tillis.
Excuse me, Miss Renata.
Yes.
I'm Randy Meyer with the Jefferson
Oh,
DA's office.
I'm so sorry, Randy. I see that we're here. What is your comment, sir?
I'm not sure what I've got a little technical issue here, so I don't know what y'all are seeing up there.
That's why I didn't know you were here. I can't see you.
Right. Well, we've reviewed the record. That is the only offense that I've seen that I saw on his record. And based on the time period that's expired since he was convicted, our office takes no position on his request.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I apologize for missing you earlier. Mr. Tillis,
To grant without.
pardon without restoration or file.
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Stapleton,
Pardon with restoration of firearms.
Mr. Prater,
Pardon with.
Mr. Freeman,
Grant pardon with restoration of firearms.
and I do concur based on the pardon with restoration of firearms based on the comments by the district attorney's office. So, Mr. Walker, on your behalf, we'll make the recommendation to Governor Landry that you receive a pardon with restoration of firearms.
Okay. I appreciate that.
Like to. Next correspondence will come from that office.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Hello. No, I don't have the, this is the one we signed in on. Okay. Hello? Camera's working. Video.
Okay, good morning. Mr. Ballard. I think are you still on mute?
Yes, here we are.
All
Good
right. Good morning. We'd like to have Mr. Ballard introduce himself, tell us his name and current mailing address, please.
I'm Van C. Ballard, 507 Aurora Drive, New Orleans, Louisiana, 70131.
Okay, thank you. And counsel, would you introduce yourself, please, sir?
How you doing? Michael J. Riley, 201 St. Charles Avenue, Suite 2500. I want to personally thank the board for indulging us today with a little mishap with the computers and the sign-in. And personally thank the staff for working through it for me, that I signed in myself and did not sign in Mr. Ballard. So they were not seeing him as being present.
Okay.
So I appreciate that.
I'm glad we got all that worked out. Thank you, sir. So let me explain. Well, first, let me introduce the board to you. My name is Cheryl Renatza. Seated to my far left is Mrs. Stapleton. To my immediate left, Mr. Prater. To my immediate right is Mr. Freeman. And to his right is Mr. Tillis. I'm going to read some identifying information into the record, ask for verification of that information. Then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Tillis. Mr. Ballard's case has been assigned to him. He'll take the lead on the interview. And once we finish our questions, we'll ask Mr. Ballard or Mr. Riley for your presentation. And if Mr. Ballard has any comments or remarks before we vote, he'll be allowed to make a statement also. You understand?
Yes, I do.
Is that okay? Okay, so we're going to get started. Mr. Van C. Ballard, your DOC number 771511. You're here today seeking a pardon with restoration of firearms. You were sentenced in Orleans Parish, May 31st, 2017, for a malfeasance in office conviction. You received a 2 years DOC sentence that was suspended. You were placed on 2 years inactive probation. Is that information correct?
That's correct.
And would you answer any questions Mr. Tillis may have?
Good morning. How you doing, Mr. Ballard?
Good morning.
I read through your record and I wanted to hear your side of the story of what happened.
On November the 3rd, 2016, I was working as an Orleans Parish Sheriff's Officer, working a paid detail in the Hurtsville area, in the Upper St. Charles area. About 12:30 or so, I received a call from the 5600 block of Britannia saying that there were 4 black males in their driveway pulling on car door handles, trying to gain access to their vehicle. They also said that they were in the neighbor's driveway also trying to gain access. After taking that information, I drove to the area, started looking for the subjects. And while in the 900 block of Joseph Street, I could hear an officer shouting loud verbal orders for a subject to come out and show his hands. Knowing that officer probably needed assistance, I ran down the alley, through the gate, down the alleyway. And as I was approaching down the alleyway, I had my flashlight. I could see 2 officers had a subject down trying to get the handcuffs on him. As I got to the subject, who was still resisting, they still had not gotten the handcuffs on him, I kicked the subject. The blow landed in the area of his forehead and his hair. After that, we were able to get the handcuffs. The white officer was able to get the handcuffs on the subject. At that time, I heard a second noise coming from the dark area at the rear of the yard. I walked over the subject who was handcuffed on the ground. I went to the rear of the yard. I could hear the movement on the roof of the shed. So I climbed up on the roof where I was able to apprehend a second subject. I was able to handcuff him, search him, and waited for the assistance from the other officers who was on the ground. Officer Terrence Wilson came. I picked the guy up. I lowered him down from the roof to the custody of Sergeant Wilson, at which time I climbed down and I came out to the front. That's when I was advised by Lieutenant Kendrick Allen that Sergeant Wilson had made a use of force complaint toward me for kicking the subject. And it started from there. On the next day, which was the 4th, I received instructions via phone to meet Sergeant Terrence Wilson at a location off of Newton Street, where I was issued a summons for battery on the subject that I kicked. I went to municipal court several times, and I thought it was dismissed, but then I received someone knocked on the door and gave me a subpoena that I had to come to criminal district court, to the best of my knowledge on that part.
You know, as I read the report of the other officer, they had him cuffed and he was down. They had him cuffed, face down, with cuffs on him. And
okay.
They said that you came up and kicked him. But you're saying he was struggling, trying to.
He was struggling. I ran down the alleyway, and it didn't seem that he had, because I stayed there for a minute till the white officer got the cuffs on him. I did kick him, and then I stepped over him and went on with the noise that was in the back of in the yard.
Not a standard policy to kick someone when they're down, is it?
If someone is resisting, sir, yeah, you can. I shouldn't have kicked him, but I did, sir, and I'm very sorry for that.
You're saying you can do that if he's down and resist?
No, I didn't say if someone's resisting, then you rather than lose your life, yes, you can do whatever means you can. There's certain areas that you can kick them in. A kick is legal, but he was not handcuffed yet. He was still trying to handcuff the guy.
I see. I have no more questions.
I have a question.
Mr. Green?
Okay, did you ever receive post training? Are you post certified?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I am too. I've never seen where they told us we can kick anybody in the head.
That's true. That's correct. That was, I didn't intend
There's
to.
pressure points we aim at and different things like that. And I understand it was in the heat of the moment. But that was your intentions to help to do the subject, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions?
Yes, sir. So you were issued a summons for simple battery,
Yeah,
correct?
Yes,
And
correct.
then I assume the DA took it to the grand jury or something and or somehow got you indicted or charged with a more serious crime and took you to district court, correct?
That's correct. I think it was explained to me that they found the law because I was in the uniform, that it was malfeasance. But I was issued a simple battery summons, but I'm not sure how that happened, if whoever picked it up, but it was stepped up to where I had to go to criminal district court.
Okay. All right. Now, I don't have any.
Okay.
I don't have any questions.
Mr. Ballard, in your appeal of your conviction, it seems that you assert the kick was not intentional, that maybe you slipped.
Yes,
Or something like that.
I did kick him, and I did lose my step or whatever. However, the kick was still landed, and I am very sorry for that kick. So.
In the statements by Sergeant Wilson, he said that it was a field goal style kick and it was 100% intentional and unjustified. And then later on, he says it was dead in the mouth in an unwarranted situation. But then it was questioned of him, was EMS called to the scene?
Correct.
And he could remember that. So with a dead-on kick to the mouth like that, was EMS called, or was there other treatment needed?
EMS was called. They checked him. There was no bruises, no sign of blood, no injuries, no broken nose. Had I tried to field goal kick him, it would be a lot of injury. I did not intentionally kick him like that. As a matter of fact, it was my kick, I think, which assisted him calming down, and they were able to get the handcuffs on him. But I did not field goal kick him where there was blood, busted lip, or mouth, or teeth knocked out. That is not true.
Okay. So no medical attention when they got there was needed.
No medical attention. Also, when he was brought to lockup, he was accepted at lockup. Had he had any injuries, face, eyes, anything, lockup would have turned him down.
Okay, that's what I needed to know. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Mr. Riley, we'd like to hear from you, sir.
I'll try to keep it very brief. This has been a long application due to COVID, and I've had an opportunity to really get to know Mr. Ballard personally over the course of this time. And besides his exemplary record, military record, his 20-something years service as a policeman, which he retired from, and that's how he was doing the detail duty for the sheriff's department, because he had retired from the New Orleans Police Department, and he had been an instructor in firearms throughout his career. I believe certainly he understands the significance of what happened. And in fact, there's nothing else in this man. Judge Ziblitz, when he sentenced him, asked the question, do we take this man's exemplary life away for one episode of what might have been an overreaction in the course of an arrest? And I think his sentence is evidence of how he really felt that while something happened, that Mr. Ballard was probably guilty of some act in the process of the arrest. He gave him the 2 years without supervision and probation. Mr. Ballard has been a model citizen until then, and after then, he has served his country, he has served our city, and I really would ask the committee to show grace upon him for this one indiscretion that we find in his record. He's been a father, and he raised his son on his own. He's led an exemplary life, but for this dot, and I can only say, just as I've heard others say, you put a dot on a piece of paper, yeah, you can see the dot, but there's a whole lot of white around that dot. And I think that Mr. Ballard, if allowed this opportunity for forgiveness and grace, will not let the board down.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Ballard, is there anything you'd like to say?
No, I just would appreciate your concern and your consideration for a pardon.
Can you tell us the reason why you're asking for a pardon?
I'm asking for a pardon for one. I was a firearms instructor. But when I retired, it was my intention of becoming a state police wildlife and fisheries. I can probably still get a job as an instructor. Also, I have some land out in the city, 19 acres of land that I own out in Mississippi. I've put a trailer. I put a 25-foot pole with a power head. I put 1,000-gallon septic tank in. I bush hog. I bought a tractor. I built a barn, and I hunt. I have a lifetime hunting license. I would like to still be able to hunt, and possibly if I could land a job as an instructor somewhere, get the job.
Thank you, sir. All right, I think we're prepared to vote. Mr. Tillis?
My vote is to deny.
Stapleton.
Mine is to grant with restoration firearms.
Mr. Prater?
Grant with restoration.
Mr. Freeman?
Grant with restoration.
All right, Mr. Ballard, I do agree pardon with restoration of firearms. I heard what your attorney said and the judge's sentiments during sentencing speaks to me. So today you've received 4 votes to grant the pardon with restoration of firearms. So that is the recommendation we'll make on your behalf to Governor Lane. Good luck.
Thank you, board.
Thank you.
Turn this up. Let me turn this up.
Please.
Vote on that one? No, you haven't. All right, good morning. Yeah, we're still in the morning. Good morning. Brandon, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and your current mailing address, please, sir.
Good morning. My name is Brandon Sabater. My address is 1828 Desire Street, New Orleans, Louisiana, 70117.
Okay, thank you, sir. And let me introduce the pardon board to you. My name is Cheryl Renatza. Seated to my far left, Ms. Stapleton. To my immediate left is Mr. Prater. To my right is Mr. Freeman, and to his right is Mr. Tillis. Let me read some identifying information into the records, and then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Freeman. Your case has been assigned to him. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you pretty good.
Okay, I need you to stop moving because you're making us dizzy.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Sabatier, let's see. There you are. Your DOC number is 554613. You're here today seeking a pardon with restoration of firearms. You were sentenced in Orleans Parish. Let's see. First in June of 2009. And then you have another sentencing date, June 18th of 2013. Both were for possession of marijuana. On the first one in June of 2009, you received a 5-year DOC sentence that was suspended. You were placed on active supervised probation. The second conviction, also possession of marijuana, you received a 3-year DOC sentence that also was suspended and you were placed on active supervised probation. Is all that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Would you answer Mr. Freeman, please?
Okay, Mr. Sabater. What was the deal? Why were you selling dope or having dope all the time?
I was just young and being a follower, man. As I look back on it, I honestly call it a product of your environment.
All right. Have you ever been married, Mr. Sabater?
You said, have I ever been married?
Right.
No, I'm currently engaged.
Okay. And you're 34 years old?
I'm 33. I'll be 34 in August.
Okay. Birthday coming up soon. Did you ever pay your balance to probation pro?
Yep. All my fees and everything should be paid off. They wouldn't have let me off parole. They wouldn't have let me off probation if I wouldn't have paid those fees.
Why you need this expungement? What do you need it for?
To be honest, I already have my record expunged, so I pretty much have a clear record. And the only reason I really applied for the pardon is because I really want my gun rights restored. And it's not the fact that I actually need a gun. It's just me having a clean record and staying out of trouble for so long. It's just the fact that if I ever wanted to purchase a gun, I can't. Because it's some well, I don't want to say it's minor weed charges because it was definitely a felony convictions, but it's non-violent offenses. That's no longer on my record already.
Have you ever been in any treatment for drugs, alcohol?
I did do drug court. When I was on the 5 years probation, I did drug court.
Did you complete it?
Yep, I definitely completed it, got the certificate and everything.
Okay, so you graduated from drug court. Okay, let me ask you this. I saw where, and you were being honest, that at the time of the investigation, which was a while back, that you said you had smoked marijuana 6 months ago. When's the last time you smoked?
It's been a while, man. I haven't been smoking.
Okay, how long?
I would say at least a year and a half, maybe 2 years.
Okay. All right, I have no further questions.
Okay, were you on probation at the time you got the second arrest?
No, I wasn't. They thought I
Yeah.
was on probation, but I wasn't on probation when I got the second arrest.
So you did the drug court and all that, and then you
Yes, ma'am.
kept doing the same thing? Yes?
Yes.
You got rearrested. So tell me, for your first arrest or conviction rather, in 2009, how much, marijuana was in your possession?
Maybe like 4 grams.
And what about the second time?
The second time I had like maybe 2 grams.
So you were selling it?
Not, if I'm being totally honest, I was smoking.
Yeah, so that was just for your own use?
Yeah, and the first time I believe they charged me with possession with attempted distribute, but it was literally like 3 bags of marijuana.
All right, and so you still live in New Orleans. Where are you employed?
I'm currently a chef now. I'm working at the Lewis Hotel.
Head chef?
I'm sous chef. I'm working on it. Eventually, I will be executive chef.
That's your goal, to be executive?
Yes, ma'am. That's definitely long-term goals, executive chef.
How long you been at Lowe's?
I've been there a little over 6 years.
Oh, good. All right, any other questions?
Yeah, I'd like to ask.
Mr. Tillis has some questions.
Why do you need a gun?
Like I said, I really don't need a gun. I only apply for the party because it's the simple right of me just not, if I ever wanted a gun, I can't purchase it. But that don't necessarily mean I need a gun.
What would you purchase one for if you needed one?
Like I just want to be able to purchase one in the future if I wanted to.
All right, Mr. Sabater, is there a statement you want to make to us before we vote?
I just want to say thank you guys for taking the time to even look at my case. Like I said, I've already took into the step as far as getting my record expunged, so I pretty much have a clean record already. And hopefully everything go in my favor.
All right, I think we're ready to vote, Mr. Freeman.
Okay, Mr. Sabater, first off, I saw where your, I think it's your wife, your fiance had wrote that you did this all on your own, that you, initiated and everything, did it yourself. I want to say that you should be proud of yourself for initiating this. On the same hand, Mr. Sabater, you say you smoked 1.5 years ago, you went through drug court, you went through other things, and be honest with you, you're still smoking, which gives me some concern. So my vote at this time, I think you need a cleansing period. I vote to deny.
Mr. Tillis?
My vote is to grant without firearm.
Ms. Stapleton?
My vote is to grant without firearm.
Mr. Prater?
I'd say grant with firearms.
All right, Mr. Sabater, my vote would be to grant also pardon with restoration of firearms. However, you got the favorable recommendation, you got 4 favorable votes. We did not agree on the with or without firearms. That's a split vote.
Can somebody change their vote?
I'm okay with the firearm. Okay, so you received 3 votes with the restoration of firearms. So that is the recommendation we'll make on your behalf. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. I got one question.
Listen, my vote is based on your work stability, the fact that it's a nonviolent offense, it was a low quantity, and your record has been expunged. Now, what's your question?
My question is, in order to actually get it approved, how many votes would I actually need?
4.
4. You got approved.
You got approved.
Thank you, guys.
It was issued, the pardon was, we agreed on that. The issue was with or without the restoration of your firearms rights. That was the question. But you got it.
And you do understand that this is just the recommendation that we're sending to the governor. So you can't leave from here saying you're pardoned.
Right.
Okay? Okay, I just wanted to make sure you understood because some people might not understand that.
Yeah, you
No,
gotta
I
wait. If we make the recommendation, the governor has no specific time frame within which he has to act, but your next correspondence should be from their office.
Okay, thank you guys.
But
They gave it to me, Dad.
all right, good afternoon. It's just now afternoon. Would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number. I mean, I'm sorry, your
Hello.
name,
Good
mail
afternoon.
address.
My name is ALJILIA Prelo. My current address is 3030 Congress Boulevard, apartment 30, Baton Rouge, 70808. You said you need my DOC?
No, I have it. I just wanted
also?
to, so I apologize.
It's 5. Okay.
Yeah, it's 529-776.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Ms. Prelo, let me introduce the board to you. My name is Cheryl Renatza. Seated to my far left, Ms. Stapleton. To my immediate left is Mr. Prater. To my immediate right is Mr. Freeman. And to his right is Mr. Tillis. I'm going to read some identifying information, and then I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Stapleton. In case it's been assigned to her, she'll take the lead on the. Before we vote, you'll be allowed to make a statement if you'd like to. You ready?
Okay. Yes,
Ms. Prelo, as we said, your DOC number is 529-776. You're here today seeking a pardon with restoration of firearms. You were sentenced in East Baton Rouge Parish, the 19th Judicial District. You were sentenced 1st October of 2007 for unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. You received a 1-year sentence that was suspended and you were placed on active supervised probation. You have another sentencing date, August 20th of 2015. That was for unauthorized entry of an inhabited dwelling. In that case, you received a 90-day parish prison sentence and you were given credit for time served. Is that correct?
Correct.
Would you answer Mrs. Stapleton, please?
Good afternoon, Ms. Prelo. I've got some questions
Hello,
for
how you
you.
doing?
How do you do? How are you doing? I've got some questions for you. I would like for you to tell me with the unauthorized, well, it's going to be for both of the different charges, but for the unauthorized use of the motor vehicle, I would like for you to tell me again what you say happened with that. How'd that happen?
I had I got in the vehicle that my brother had rented from a guy, and the police see me in the vehicle and they stopped me, and the police officers, they say the guy took the vehicle from his parents and they had reported the truck stolen. So by me getting caught driving it, I was taken to jail for unauthorized use of a vehicle.
Okay. Because the man that it was stolen from says that when the vehicle came back to him, it was damaged. Do you know anything about that? It didn't come
No,
back.
the vehicle wasn't, yeah, it wasn't damaged by me or nothing that I know of. Because I hadn't even been in the vehicle that long when I got stopped.
Right. All right. Second thing, the inhabited dwelling. Tell me about that one.
This man that I used to go with, I had went by his house and he had a lady there, but my lights had cut off at my house. I didn't think to check the breaker box, so I called a cab to his house, not knowing that no one was, but he ended up letting me in. So I guess the conversation started between me and the lady because I was there. She cut me with a eyebrow archer. I had to get 22 staples. So I didn't put my hands on anything. I called police so she can get arrested, and they ended up taking me to jail for aggravated burglary. And when I was incarcerated, I ended up getting a bond reduction. But I never could bond out because the charges, I guess because the charges was messed up, but then they changed it to home invasion. And when I went to court, they dropped it down to inhabited dwelling.
Okay, now on the police report, I guess he was your ex-boyfriend. Is that Lewis Jones? Is that who we're talking about?
Yes, Mr. Jones.
Lewis
Yes.
Jones? Okay.
Yes.
He said that you were banging on the door and ringing the doorbell a lot, and he went to it, and that he told you you weren't welcome there, and he tried to close the door, and that you pushed your way in. So he didn't just let you in, according to his statement. And that
No,
you
he
went,
say from what he told me, he said he never told the police officer that because like I wasn't even charged with like any property damage or anything like that. I had when I finally seen the police report when the investigator came to speak with me at the jail, that's when I found it out. But Mr. Jones said that he didn't even tell the officers that, but he was going to speak on my behalf, but he ended up passing away.
yes, he died. He's deceased. No other
Yes.
police report said he advised police that someone kept ringing his door. So he went to see who was at the door. He said he observed you Prelo, coming from around the side of the residence. He stated to you that you were not welcome, that he had a girlfriend over. He stated he tried to close the door. However, you pushed him and pushed the door open and you entered the residence without his permission. And then he said you started yelling and cursing and you went into the bedroom where the lady was at and you jumped on her and started punching her in the face, which led to her grabbing an eyebrow pencil. And then you went out and you got cut and you called the police and the police arrested you. So
Yeah, like none of that happened. I was dating, like I was receiving, I used to live there at one point of a time. I've had been messing with that man since I was 17 years old. So That's why I'm not understanding why I was taken to jail for aggravated burglary when he let me in. I was receiving mail at the house. My driver's license has that address on there. So I'm not, and I never put my hands on her. Like if I were retaliated against her, I would have never called the police. And if I was beating around the door and kicked the door in, I wouldn't have called the cops either. So that was a statement that the cop wrote on her own, because I still was talking to Mr. Jones after all of that.
Well, she is very much opposed to your pardon, because she still sticks with the story the other way, that you came in the bedroom and pulled her out of bed and that you were beating her up, and that's when she grabbed up.
That's not what happened. I even seen her at the funeral, and I went to his house at the repast. So the family, I wouldn't even have been allowed to come there. Like, I still talk to his daughters, his sons, his granddaughter, his daughter, his oldest daughter just invited me to her party yesterday, but I didn't go because of the weather. Like none of that she's saying is true, or the officer. Like, I never put my hands on that woman.
Okay. Well, they sure
And after I ended up getting out, I seen her and Mr. Jones in the grocery store, and she seen Mr. Jones talking to me in the grocery store.
Okay, well, let's move on to what you've
But I wish
done
he
with your
wouldn't have
life.
passed away in time enough, because he would have been able to get on here and speak on my behalf.
Well, what is the reason that you need a pardon, and why do you need it with a gun, with a firearm?
Well, it was stopping me from getting jobs. I was getting job offers, and I was getting denied because of my record. And I'm in school for criminal justice. I have 1 semester left to graduate. And I'm trying to work in law enforcement. And I also have a interview coming Wednesday with the state police. And in order for me to get a job in law enforcement, I have to be able to be around guns. Like, I don't want the pardon for my gun rights back to purchase a gun. It's just so I can work in the field.
How many years have you been in school for criminal justice?
Well, I started in 2016. I had first started getting my bachelor's. I was going online, but I was getting charged a lot on going to school online. So I ended up going to BRCC, and I was just going to get my associate's degree. But I ran out of financial aid, so now I had to stop for a little while. So I'm going back. I started back this summer, on the 10th. 2 classes for the summer, and I have to pay out of pocket.
You got like 1 year? You finished 1 year, you've completed 1 year towards an associate's?
No, I have a semester. Like, it depends on how many classes. It depends on how many classes that I take for fall. I'll be done in December. But if I don't take all the classes in December, I'll be done spring of 2025.
And you mentioned state police. So what type of job were you interviewing for with state police?
It's going to be in the gaming commission.
Gaming commission.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's all the questions I have.
All right, any other questions?
I got a question.
Mr. Till.
How did you get cut? You say you got some staples.
How did I get cut?
Yeah.
Yeah, she came from the back because Mr. Jones was in the front with me. That he was gonna let me lay out and sleep on his couch because my lights was off in my house, and I didn't have a car at the time. I caught a cab there, like I always did. Used to pop up at his house, but that time she was there.
So
like, I didn't even know anything about her. I didn't even know he was messing with her.
Okay, so
and she didn't know anything about me. But like I said, I had been messing with him since I was 17. And he was 56.
You were 17. So you proceeded to lie on the sofa, and then she came in and cut you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because he never went back in the back with her. He was still in the front with me, and she came. Yes, like I wouldn't even put my hands on no one older, first of all. So I wouldn't even do that. So, and I've never done that in my life. So she cut me, and I said I could have put my hands on her then, and I didn't. I thought I was doing the right thing by calling the cops. The officer the other officer on the scene, he said that he would never even taken me to jail, but he wasn't the first one. That wasn't his call. Even the officer that took me to the hospital, she said she don't know why I'm going to jail and why I'm being charged with aggravated burglary, because I didn't break into anyone's house to steal anything. So when I went to court, the only reason I pled guilty is because had been trying to bond out for 3 months, and I couldn't because of the way that they had the charges. So it had me where I couldn't bond out. So at this point, I had already got the bond reduction, and I didn't, because they had me at a men's facility, and I didn't want to go back to the jail. So I just pleaded guilty, pleaded guilty to it, so I can get out.
Miss Prelo, have you ever been in any fights?
Yes.
Okay, did you get arrested for fighting?
Yes, I've been arrested for fighting.
Okay, because you said you never put your hands on one, but obviously you have.
No, I said I never put my hands on anyone older.
Older, okay, thank you.
And you have a recent, disturbing the peace charge out of West Baton Rouge that you finally took care of that fees or whatever you needed to do to resolve that. That was disturbing the peace. It sounds like you went on mute somehow. You must have a bad connection. We still can't hear you. Can you see the mute button?
That's what she did.
Can y'all unmute her? You have to unmute your microphone. You see the little microphone? Unmute it. We're going to call you on the phone.
We have a lip reader on thing.
I was trying to, do it, living for excellence, I'll be getting on with it.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am, hang on one second.
All right, there you go. We were having some problems with your audio.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Ma'am, could you mute your device?
okay, it's muted now.
Or turn it down, rather.
Okay.
Okay, that's better. We were getting the echo. Were y'all finished with your question? I forgot where she was. And the West Baton Rouge disturbing the peace, so you've resolved that, correct?
Yes, I found out about that when I was in my child department, so I went across there and paid the fees.
Okay. And you
that happened when I was 20 years old.
And you were on supervision before, right?
Was authorized use of a vehicle, yes.
And did you complete that supervision satisfactorily?
No, I didn't get to complete that. And I got a revocation hearing for outside. I was in a abusive relationship with my ex-husband, and I moved from the address. So I ended up getting arrested. Okay. And when I went to court, I didn't get they didn't revocate me for it. They just gave me credit for time served, and I received the first defender part.
Okay. All right. Anything you want to say to us before we go?
I would really like to get this behind me, and in order for me to work in law enforcement, I have to have a clear record and have my gun rights secured. I don't want to just been in wasted all this money, going to school, trying to do something and make a change in my life, and I still have this, over my head.
All right. Well, thank you, ma'am. think we're ready to. Thank you. We have a motion by Ms. Stapleton for executive session. Can we get the roll call?
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Free,
No.
Free,
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Tillis,
Yeah, yes.
did you vote, Mr. Tillis?
Yes.
All right, we will be in executive session for just a few moments, Ms. Prelo. Stand by, we'll be right back.